Apple Card is the credit card created by Apple. You earn 3% daily cash back up front when you use it to buy a new iPhone 15, AirPods, or any products at Apple. And you can automatically grow your daily cash at 4.15% annual percentage yield when you open a high-yield savings account. Apply for Apple Card in the Wallet app on iPhone. Apple Card subject to credit approval. Savings is available to Apple Card owners subject to eligibility. Savings accounts by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, member FDIC. Terms apply.
In sports, the scoreboard doesn't tell the full story, but Netflix does. Stories about dads who happen to be world-class quarterbacks and a battle for the heart, soul, and direction of the multi-billion-dollar business of F1. Whether you're a diehard fan or you're brand new, Netflix has the stories for every type of fan. You can watch these incredible sports stories like Quarterback, F1 Drive to Survive, Untold, and many more now on Netflix.
This episode is brought to you by Columbia Sportswear. It's snowing again, and that wind chill is killer. But you're not worried about that because you shop the Omni Heat Infinity Collection. It's warmth perfected with tiny gold dots that reflect your body heat inside and protect you from the cold outside. No snow or chilly temps can stop you now. Go out anyway. Shop the Omni Heat Infinity Collection now at Columbia.com/infinity.
The following is a snippet of an exclusive members-only podcast episode for our Patreon Chronicles Tifosi. Become a member at patreon.com/Serie A Chronicles for regular bonus episodes and content.
Lots of big games this weekend, but one that I think wouldn't necessarily have been considered a huge game at the start of the season, but which I think demands being treated as a big game, the way both teams have started this season. Udinese 2, Atalanta 2. Atalanta were 2-0 up in this game after an hour or so. And I was thinking, this is a statement, actually. This is quite something. Udinese have been no pushovers. This Atalanta team has maybe had that one question against it. Oh, how are they going to fare when they come up against a really good team? Unfortunately for Atalanta, they did get pegged back from 2-0 to 2-2 inside that last half hour. But this was a really entertaining game. Mina, what did you come away thinking about these two teams?
That I love Udinese, that it's remarkable that Atalanta could still do this despite having so many absences in defense, to still understand how to cut passages of play, that Udinese have recovered 13 points despite the fact that they've from comeback situations. And that's the thing I bet on them. Like, if there's one thing that I know that Udinese can do, is that they can do something in the final minutes. Do you remember Simone Inzaghi's in Lazio that year that they were really challenging for the Scudetto during coronavirus until that took it all away from them? They're just that team. They know how to change things. They have perfect substitutes to introduce and try to shake things up. They have this firm belief in themselves to continue doing what they're doing, and they will get the goal. And I think they have this ability to overwhelm. But Atalanta, the fact that they didn't lose this match it's really extraordinary. And actually, we had a really good question that had come into Serie A Chronicles that was asking specifically, I'm lucky to be in Bergamo next weekend. This is from Edo Langley, to see Atalanta at home. So I have a question for the pod. How has Gasperini made the 2022 version of Atalanta so robust at the back? And are they a realistic title chance? Well, it helps the fact that they're only playing one game a week. Obviously, that makes a huge difference on a exhaustion level because you can't cope without Toloi and stuff in Europe as well. But it is the ability to be that flexible, to change your game, to say, okay, I don't have the attack that I really wanted. I never got the update that I wanted. Malinovsky is great, but perhaps not the guy that's going to score me 1,000 goals. I don't have the skill of what I used to have with Papu Gomez and Ilicic. So I'm just going to go down to the fundamentals and learn and teach this team how to perform as a cohesive unit to defend. And it is cutting lines of passage, tracking, winning duels, but also not exerting so much pressure in the way that they were, which was very rock and roll. And I worship him for being able to do that. Like, this has made me think, like, I've always loved Gasperini, but perhaps not as much as I've loved the likes of Pioli. But now I'm like, ooh, you're pragmatic. I love you.
I
You
love
can do
how he
anything.
swoons for pragmatism, swoons for it. Do not give me no ideology. She wants pragmatism,
Yes.
and chicken wings. Um,
Oh no! Now people know how to get to me.
Yeah, to answer the question, I feel like we talked about this a week or two ago. I mean, I do think that the simplest answer to why they're conceding fewer goals is just shift of emphasis. It's not that they've suddenly got world-class footballers that they didn't have before. They've got some interesting young footballers. Like I do think Scalvini at 18 years old is playing at a very impressive level for an 18-year-old. That doesn't mean that I think he's going to be a future Italy international. Let's see how things work out. But he's playing at an impressive level for a teenager for certain. Okoli as well, another very young defender playing in that back three. That they've got some young players performing to a high level. But the real answer to why they're conceding fewer goals is because Gasperini has introduced variety to their game, where they do play in the low block sometimes, where they used to do that much less. So now they have periods of that intense high press, but it's much more controlled, it's much more limited, it's much more pick your moments, go one-on-one all over the pitch, which was always the famously Gasperini tactic, was one-on-one all over the pitch, trust your players and believe in that. And he doesn't do that as much anymore. But he hasn't abandoned it altogether. It's not predictable. And I think that's, as Mina was just saying, his greatest asset actually is that ability to be unpredictable. And you hear opposing managers talk about it all the time. I think it's probably even more true, frankly, in 2022 than it's ever been, because now we have got 5 substitutions and that is having its impact in all sorts of ways. But other managers talk about Gasperini as someone who uses those substitutions like a game of chess, like he really is changing things every time he does them, and you have to react to that. So he's adapted is the answer. There were a few standout things that happened in this game. I mean, I thought definitely need to mention Ademola Lookman scoring the first goal and then getting booked for doing Ademola Lookman, that's his name, a Lookman celebration with his eyes. Yeah, putting like glasses on, and the referee thinking that it's some sort of comment about him, Doveri, and booking him for it.
They're crazy, right?
Yeah, I felt sorry for him. I mean, I'm fairly sure he doesn't speak fluent Italian yet, so sort of have that, genuinely, sincerely, not trying to provoke anyone, just doing a "Hey, my name's Lookman" celebration, and then having that get a yellow card for it was ridiculous. Lewis Muriel, of course, former Udinese player, scoring against him, didn't celebrate. So yeah, a couple of interesting moments with that. But again, just really impressive character from Udinese, coming from behind and getting that result. I think there was a bit of sort of napping at set pieces that went on in those goals they conceded, Atalanta, and certainly Sportiello, not his finest moment. But yeah, a really impressive showing again from Andrea Sottila's team. And
do you believe in either one of them staying in top 4 or challenging for the title?
The thing is, like, they're just neither of them. So I was about to say, so Udinese, there's neither of them defined by stars. I mean, when you go player for player through that Udinese team, it's the weakest Udinese team I think there's been in a few seasons.
What? Do you think so?
I meant to say
Atalanta. Okay, yeah.
I think when you go player for it, because there isn't
I agree,
Papu Gomez, there isn't an Ilicic. Duvan Zapata, when he's there, has not been at his usual level.
Luis Muriel.
Who's your star in that team? Muriel. I like Lookman, but Lookman is not the next big thing. I'm just being frank about it. So it lacks star power, which is why I used to think at some point it will come undone. Udinese have, the opposite. They've got more than they used to do in terms of sort of interesting players
and a bench.
But I don't see still. I mean, you couldn't put these teams up against Inter, Milan, Juventus, Napoli, Roma, go player for player and say it's comparable.
At their prime, but are they good? But do you look at Milan, Inter and Juve, even though, like, I think right now, obviously Milan's much better, although it's Napoli, right? It's the others.
I'm talking
for me.
Player for player, not for performance. Performance,
okay.
Udinese are playing better. I'm saying if you look at their squads and go player for player. And that's why when you ask the question, can they stay there? I sort of think, well, can they? But right now they're playing.
So you believe in players more than coaching?
I think that over time, the quality of players makes a difference. But yeah, look, no, a good manager can certainly can certainly shift that balance. Other things that happened this weekend. You mentioned them already. Inter with a really sort of resilient display against Sassuolo, a really important one, I thought, against Sassuolo.
Become a member at patreon.com/Serie A Chronicles for regular bonus episodes and content.
Sports Social Podcast Network.
Okay, round 2. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.